Okay, so always have your ball. We're going to start by releasing our lower back. Most movement that we do every single day, walking, bending, twisting, originates from there. So let's get it released before we get it strengthened up. So we're going to be lying down. We're not going to be standing up till the very end of the session today. So just lie down for a moment. Have your ball handy to one side so you can easily reach it. And then as you lie down, your legs are bent. And first of all, just checking what your body feels like to begin with, in particular your upper back and your neck. So we want to let the chin nod to the chest, so we open out the back of the neck. Remember that plumb line from the ear to the shoulder to the hip. We want to try and have that straight line. So if the upper back is feeling a little tight to begin with and your eye line is slightly behind, then you need just a folded up towel, nothing too high, but just to place under your head so that you've got that line from the ear, the shoulder to the hip, but nothing too high. So feet are shoulder distance apart, arms are just down the side of the body. We're not going to move just yet, but we're going to start to activate our glutes. Remember, they're the muscles that help us move our pelvis. So I want you just to lie here, but switch them on. Can you feel those bottom muscles squeezing? And then can you switch them off? Feel them releasing. And again, so you're trying to squeeze both sides of the bottom, but then you're going to release it. So notice that they're switched on, squeeze, feel the difference, and then switch them off and release. And again, just squeezing. And then release. Now, as you continue to do this with the glutes, check your feet. We're making sure they're parallel, but that was spreading out the toes. We want to make sure the insides of the legs and outsides of the legs are working equally. So to do that, we want to make sure the big toes are pressed down just as much as the little toes. You're still squeezing the bottom muscles and then release. Now, the next time you squeeze the bottom muscles, you're going to use those muscles to lift your bottom up. And now you're going to slot the ball underneath your bottom. So remember, we want to have it quite low under the bottom, not under the lower back. And as the ball is lifted the bottom, we're releasing the bottom muscles, by the way. Just want you to feel the lower back just hanging down. So we want to open up the vertebrae in the lower back and all the muscles and ligaments around it. So now let's start to get some movement in the pelvis. So remember to get that feedback to make sure the pelvis is moving, placing the heel of the hands. Feel the front ridges of your hip bones, fingertips are on the pubic bone. And before we even move the pelvis, we want to check that the fingertips are already higher than the heel of the hands in your start position. Now from here, let's start to curl the pelvis. You're not lifting the bottom, but notice how you probably have to squeeze the bottom to get that pelvic tilt a little more. And then we're just releasing it. And again, so we're squeezing the bottom, but we're not lifting it. We're using those muscles to curl the pelvis so the fingertips are even higher than the heel of the hands. And then release. Keep this movement going. And then once you can check with your hands that the pelvis is moving, then you can place your arms down on the floor. So keep it going. So your spine, your lower back is connected to the pelvis. So to move the lower back, we've got to get this movement going through the pelvis. Now keep this going and have a check once again. Are your big toes, the muscles down the insides of the legs, working as equally as the little toes, the muscles down the outsides of the legs? So checking that. We're going to do 3 more here. We're curling the pelvis and then we're releasing it. And again, 2 more, curling it, release. 1 more, we're going to curl it. Now keep it curled. We're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest and we're going to keep that knee in. And we're also going to bring the left knee in. So not tabletop, we're bringing the knees in as close as you can. If you need a bit of stability, leave your arms on the floor. Or if you're okay without the arms on the floor, hold on to the shins. Pull your knees in even closer. And the closer the knees come in, the more the vertebrae in the lower back opens out. And then you're going to leave go of them. And you're just going to place the right foot down on the floor. and then that left foot down on the floor. So let's curl the pelvis again first and repeat that. Right knee is coming in as close as you can. The left knee comes in to join it. You wrap the hands, if you can, around the shins. You pull the knees in even closer as you open the lower back. Then you're going to leave go, and the right foot lowers and the left foot lowers. 2 more with the right side leading. Your right knee is coming in. Your left knee is coming in. Hands are wrap around the shins and you pull the knees in even closer each time. You're going to leave go. Right foot lowers. Left foot lowers. Once again, see if you can curl the pelvis again. One more time on this side. Right leg in. Left leg in. Wrap the hands around your shins. Pull the knees in. Stay here for a moment. Breathe into this position. Letting the breath out, just giving the body a little time in this position. Breath in. And then you're going to let the breath out. Now leave go of the legs and just let your right foot lower. The left knee stays in. Now we're going to start to stretch the left leg. Now it might not fully straighten, and that's fine. Bending the knee back in towards you. And again, extending the leg the best that you can and bend. 2 more. So now we're stretching the hamstring, all the connective tissue down the back of the leg, which also leads up through the spine. 1 more. Now lower the left leg in front, and when you get the chance, straighten it. Maybe you can tap it on the floor, the knee might soften. Slide the left leg in and bring the left knee in towards your chest. Again, extend. When you get the chance to straighten it, you do. Checking that your lower back's not moving. Reach it, slide it along the floor. Bring it back in. 2 more. And as we do this with the left leg, is that right big toe pushed down as much as the little toe? Slide it back in. 1 more, you extend. So we're opening out the front of the hips. And then you're going to bring that left leg back in. Going to bring the right leg in to join it. Wrap the hands around your shins. Pull the knees in. Taking those 2 breaths in through the nose. Letting that breath out. And again, take a breath. And let the breath out. You're going to leave go of the legs. This time your left foot is going to lower down to the floor. And let's extend the right leg. And then bend the right knee back in. Keep it going. And as you do this, focus also on your left leg. Check your big toes pushed down as well as the little toe. And then bend. And again, stretch and bend. Now this time stretch, the leg reaches forward. You keep reaching it. Maybe the knee softens as the foot drops to the floor. Then you slide it back in towards your chest. Extend. You're lengthening. So now we're opening up our hip flexor. That muscle links into the muscle that goes down the side of the spine. So we want to open this out to open up the side of the spine. And then stretch. We've got 1 more. Reach that leg forwards. Slide it back in. And bring the knee in towards your chest. Bring the left knee in. Last time. As you wrap the hands around you, pull the knees in. Now we're going to release our SI joint, the back of the pelvis. So keep your feet together. Right hand on your right knee, left hand on your left knee. Open the knees out, but no wider than shoulders. We don't want to take it too wide. And then we're going to pull the legs back together. Hands on the knees. Your knees are opening out. Hands on the outsides of the knees as you pull them back together. 2 more, open out. No wider than shoulders, remember. Bring them back in. 1 more, open out. Stay here. Now move the knees forwards, just so the knees are above the hips, no lower. So you want to keep hold of them. Bring the knees together. Pull them back in. Reverse it. The legs are going to go forwards. Keep your feet together. Knees open out. No wider than shoulders. Bring them back in. And together. Open the knees out. They're going forwards. Bring them in. All the way back in. And again, the knees go forwards. Open out. Bringing them back in. Together. We got 1 more of each. We're going to bring them together. All the way in. Last time they go forwards. The knees open out, bring them back in and together. Leave go of the legs, right foot towards the floor, left foot towards the floor, checking once again, equal pressure each foot. Now let's squeeze the bottom muscles like we did in the beginning, but this time just take away the pressure from the ball. We're still squeezing them. And then release as you sink back down. And again, you're squeezing as you lift, and then release, lower back down. 2 more, you squeeze the bottom, you're lifting, releasing as you lower. 1 more, you're squeezing and you're lifting. We're going to move the ball to the right side of the bottom, and we're resting just the right side of the bottom. There's nothing under the left side of the bottom, but we want to make sure the pelvis is level. So place your hands on the front ridges of the hip bones. We want to make sure they're level with each other at the beginning of this movement. Now we're going to start to move our pelvis and our spine side to side. So let the left hip, left side of the bottom, lower down, but make sure that nothing changes in your shoulders or your upper back. Now can that left hip lift higher than the right hip? So your legs are moving a little bit, but they're not moving in or out. We've still got that pressure on the big toes and little toes. We're just letting the left hip lower than the right hip. Then we're lifting that left hip up so it's higher than the right hip. And again, and just notice what this side feels like. Then we can compare to the other side. 2 more, you might feel the left side of the bottom muscle working extra hard as you do this. 1 more, left hip drops, left hip lifts, but then let's get the hips level. So we're back to that straight line. Squeeze the bottom, lift up, and let's repeat that on the other side. So ball under the left side of the bottom, you're resting on it. Remember, we're making sure that our fronts of our hips are level. Now the right side of the bottom lowers, so the right hip is below the left hip, then it lifts so your right hip is above the left hip. No movement or limit the movement in the shoulders. And notice if you feel more movement on one side than the other. One side might be a little tighter. So we're trying to create that symmetry in the body. Let the hip drop. Lift it up using this right side of the bottom even more. And again, the hip drops and lift the hip up. And 1 more time, the right hip drops. The right hip lifts higher than the left. Now let's get them level again. Squeeze both sides of the bottom, lift up, and once again, let's get the ball into the center of the pelvis. And like we did in the beginning, feel the lower back just hanging down, sinking down. Let's go back to moving the pelvis, curl it. Notice now if you're getting any more movement in the spine, release, curl it. So we're not lifting the bottom up, we're just trying to curl it so the pubic bone becomes a little higher than the hips each time. 2 more, curling the pelvis, release it. 1 more, we're going to curl the pelvis, but we're going to keep it curled. Now we've opened out the lower back, now it's time to strengthen that muscle that wraps around it, your core muscle. So take a breath in. On your out breath, on the last second of your out breath, tighten that belt, draw your belly button in, visualize that muscle wrapping around the lower back, around the sides, in towards the belly button, under the stomach muscles. And then release, switch it off. Take a breath. As you breathe out, tighten that belt. Now, as you do it, make sure you're not squeezing the bottom muscles. Just activating that deep muscle and release it. The next time we're going to keep it switched on. So breath in. As you breathe out, we're tightening the belt. Now it's switched on. We're going to keep it switched on. The back stays still, and now we start to challenge the core muscles. The right leg comes up, but this time tabletop, knee above hip. Now using those stomach muscles as your left leg comes up to join it. So stay here for a moment. Tighten that belt more. That's what you're focusing on. We're going to lower the right leg, but I want you just to let it hover off the floor and stay there and check, is that core still switched on? Is that belly button still pulled in? Now you're going to slowly bring your right leg up. And then let's do the same with the left leg. Let it lower, but let it hover. And as it hovers off the floor, tighten that belt more. Breathing out as your leg comes up. And again, you're breathing in as your right leg lowers, but you pause there and you focus on the core again. And then you bring it back up. And again, the left leg lowers. Then you pause there for a minute and you tighten that belt even more. And it comes back up. And again, 4 more here. The right leg lowers, stay there. Draw the belly button in, bring it back up. Left leg lowers, hold it there for a second. Tighten that belt even more, bring it back up. 1 more on each side. The right leg lowers, hold it, and then it comes back up. Last time, for now, we're going to keep strengthening these muscles. Left leg lowers, stay there, draw the belly button in, bring it back up, lower the right foot to the floor, lower the left foot to the floor, and switch off those core muscles. Back to your glutes, squeeze and lift, and then release as you lower down. And again, checking once again, big toes press down as much as the little toes. 2 more, squeeze and lift, lower and release. 1 more, squeeze and lift, let's stay up, move the ball away, but keep the bottom up. Still spreading out the toes. Pubic bone is still higher than the fronts of the hips. Curl the pelvis as if you have the ball under you as you start to slowly let your spine lower. Now keep curling it, using those glutes, trying to get into that lower back, and then we return the pelvis to neutral. So neutral is when the pubic bone and hip bones are level. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, first thing, tighten the belt. Second thing, see if you can press the lower back. Then begin to curl the pelvis, squeeze the bottom muscles, and then you peel up. So we're trying to get more mobility in the spine. Once we're up, we're still squeezing the bottom. Pubic bone is still higher than the hips as you let the back lower down. Feel the back of the rib cage lower down. Keep curling and curling that pelvis. So you want to open up the vertebrae and then release, return to neutral. Take a breath. First thing, you breathe out, tightening the belt. Second thing, see if you can press the lower back. Third thing, get that pelvis curled. Use the bottom muscles. Checking once again, big toes push down as much as your little toes. Once you're up, feel the top of the back lower. Curling the pelvis more and more as the mid-back lowers, the bottom of the back, and then finally the pelvis. We've got that one last time, so breath in. As you breathe out, first thing, tighten the belt, imprint the lower back. Second thing, curl the pelvis, squeeze the bottom, peeling up, checking in with the feet, the legs in that perfect alignment, then curling your pelvis as you lower down. Keep curling all the way down. And now let's make sure we are in a neutral. So pubic bone, hip bones are level. So you might have a little arch in the lower back, you might not. Now stay neutral, but bring your legs together, squeeze them together. We still got this neutral pelvis, but place the hands on the outsides of your hips, fingertips up to the ceiling, relax the shoulders. Now we want the hips to be still as your right leg opens slowly to the right side. That left side, left foot is still on the floor, and then bring it back. So keep pushing the sides of the hands into the hips for that stability. Now your left leg goes out. So we're opening out those muscles in the front of the hips that link in with the back muscles. And again, so we don't want to be moving that pelvis. We've got the hands there for that feedback. Bring it back. And again, left leg out. And then bring it back. And again, we've got one more. Right leg opens out. The hands are on the hips. Bring it back. And now your left leg, good, is opening out. And then you're going to bring it back. Now the arms open out a little bit, palms up to the ceiling. Glue the legs together, start very, very small. As both of your legs roll to the right side a little bit. Just the left side, the bottom is lifting. Then bring it back as they pass through center, you're in neutral. And then you're going to the left side. Now remember, this is not about making it a big movement. Think of that control. As you come back, your knees are level. As you go to the right side, is that left knee still level with that right knee? Bring it back. Knees are level. Now, as you go to the left side, is that right knee still level with the left knee? Bring it back. Keep this movement going. Gradually increase it, but only as much as you can keep the knees level as they go to the side. So we just want to make sure as you go to the left side, the right knee isn't sliding up the thigh, it's level with the left knee. As you come to the center, you hit that neutral pelvis. And we're going to do 4 more here. And then bring it back through the center. And we've got 3 more. There's no movement in the arms, there's no movement in the shoulders. Going to do 1 more, over to the right. And then bring it back through the center. Last time, as you go over to the left, then you're going to bring it back to the center. Now we're rolling onto the side and we're hitting the next position. We're lying on our front, lying prone. So you're lying on your front, your legs are slightly apart, but feel the pubic bone and the fronts of the hips on the mat. Let's have one hand on top of the other. And forehead is going to rest on the hands. And just stay here for a moment. And as you lie here, just a tiny movement, I want you to push the front of the right hip into the floor. So feel the left hip lifting away from the floor. And then roll the pelvis back to the center. Push the front of the left hip into the floor. So your right hip lifts a little bit. Then bring it back. And again, so we're just moving the pelvis from side to side, just a small movement, bring it back. Now the front of the left hip presses. Now I want you to find that center so that you've got equal pressure on each hip. Let's work on our scapula, the shoulder blades. Slide the shoulders up to the ears. Now we're going to slide the shoulder blades down away from the ears, and once they're down, start to lift the head. Now, as we lift the head, you're looking slightly forwards, but remember, without compressing the back of the neck. The rib cage is down on the floor, the shoulders are down and away from the ears, and slowly lower down. Really feel the front of the spine lengthen as you lower back down. And then we're going to go again. So the shoulders are down away from the ears the whole time. We're breathing in. As we curl up, as you lower down, feel like you're trying to drag your arms backwards. Create some extension, some opposition in this extension movement. And again, 2 more as you come up and really lengthen as you lower back down. We're going to do 1 more coming up. Now stay here, keep the hips on the floor, keep the knees on the floor, but can you bend your right knee in? The foot's coming to the bottom. Now flex your right foot and push the front of the right hip down towards the floor. Point the right foot, let it lower down. Now bend your left leg, push the front of the left hip into the floor, flex. Really push the hip down, point, and then lower back down. 1 more each side. Your right leg bends, hips into the floor, flex that foot, squeeze the bottom muscles to help this movement. And then release, and then you're going to bend your left leg in, push the hips into the floor, flex your left foot, and then we're going to release, lower back down. You're going to slide your hands to the side of your body, push yourself up. So you're going to be on your hands and knees, but we're going to drop down onto elbows. So your knees are under your hips, your elbows are under the shoulders, and we're going to move the spine. We're curling the pubic bone, we're rounding the back. Now push your elbows into the floor, look towards your thighs. Now remember that core muscle, that belt, can you tighten it here? Can you pull your belly button into the spine? See if you can curl your pelvis even more. Take a breath. As you breathe out, release it. And we're going to go again. Push the elbows into the floor so you curl your pelvis. Use your elbows into the floor to round the back. Now can you squeeze the bottom and curl the pubic bone more? Now tighten that belt. Feel like this is a core exercise. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're coming back to that neutral position. We're going to do 2 more here. So we're curling, pushing the elbows into the floor. Once we look towards the thighs, can you curl that pubic bone more? Now tighten that belt. Take a breath. Breathing out. Bring it back to your neutral position 1 more time. So back to that movement in the spine. Hold it here. Look to your thighs. Tighten that belt. Breathe into the back. As you breathe out, we'll come into neutral. You're going to come up onto your hands and onto your knees with your ball. So now we're on knees, we're checking. We want to have the knees level, and we also want your pelvis in neutral. So you can always have a check, heel of the hands, hips like we did lie down, fingertips, pubic bone. We don't want to have the pubic bone back. So squeeze the bottom, find your neutral. If your pelvis is in neutral, your spine will be as well. And first of all, it's a bit of a weird one, you're going to have the ball behind your head, and you're just holding the ball, making sure that you can see the elbows out the corner of your eye. We're going to go into some extension, same position we did when we're lying on our front. So from here, all you're doing is pressing the head back into the ball so that you get just a subtle lift in the chest, and then try and grow a millimetre taller as you bring it back. So it's a very small movement. There's nothing happening in the lower back. It's just that little lift in the chest. And then grow taller as you bring it back. And again, 2 more, that little lift. And then try and grow a little taller as you come back. 1 more. Chest presses forwards, head presses into the ball. Bring it back. Now stretch the arms. Hold the ball in your right hand. Bit of coordination now, lower down. So feel that little lift in the chest. The ball's on the right hand and against the right side of the leg, pelvis neutral. We're going to roll the ball down the leg and then bring it back. And again. So we want this pelvis to be still. And again, we want to think of this line, ear, shoulder, hip. So we don't want to be rounding forwards. We want to have that little lift in the chest. And again, we've got 1 more. And then bring it back to the center. Hold the ball. Open the arms out. Reach your arms up. You're going to change over as you open out. Turn the palms now. The ball's down the left side of the leg. And roll it down. So now we're stretching those muscles down the side of the spine. Remember, we want to hit every spinal position our body's made to do. 2 more here. Bring it back. 1 more. Bring it back. Now this time, out to the side only. Come forwards. Bend your elbows. Now the ball's on your chest. Elbows are out. Pelvis stays still. Rotate to the right, but without your hips moving. Imagine the hips are headlights. They're shining straight in front. Bring it back. And rotate, and notice you've probably got more rotation on one side than the other. Again, this is going to balance that out. Right side, bring it back. Keep growing taller all the time. Left side, bring it back. 1 more each side, over to the right, bring it back. Over to the left, bring it back. Stretch up, ball behind your head. Check you can see the elbows. Back to that extension. Grow taller, bring it back. We're squeezing the bottom, your pelvis stays still. Bring it back. 2 more. Good. Bring it back. 1 more. Come back, stretch the arms up. Ball in the right hand. Lower down, roll it down the right side. See if you're getting more movement now. Bring it back. And again, over. Good, bring it back. 2 more. And then bring it back. 1 more. Now stay there, keep the ball there. Let your left ear drop towards the shoulder, or think of the right ear lengthening up towards the ceiling. Let's stay here for a moment. Now we're stretching the scalene, the muscles down the side of the neck. Then your head comes back. You're going to turn your head to the left side without anything else moving. And then bring the head back. 1 more, ear lengthens up to the ceiling, left ear goes to the shoulder, but without the shoulder lifting. Hold it there for a moment, bring it back. Turn your head again to the left side, and then bring it back. You're opening out the arms, lift up, swap them over, reach them out, down the left side of the leg, and then let's go to the side. Bring it back. Pelvis stays still. Bring it back. 2 more. Good, and bring it back. 1 more. Come back, stay here. Now it's, what's that? Right ear to shoulder, left ear lengthens up. The hand stays on the ball. We're stretching that group of muscles down the side of the neck. Remember, the neck is part of your spine. Bring your head back. Turn your head to the right side. Yeah, right side. My left, your right. Hold it there for a moment. Any different to the other side? Bring it back. And again, ear lengthens. Pushing into the ball with that other hand. And then come back. And then one last time, same side as you turn your head, shoulders stay still. And then bring it back. Open out, arms in front, elbows bent, ball on the chest, rotate to the right, stay here, pelvis stays still. Now from here, start to move through the neck as your head turns, so you're maybe looking over the shoulder. And then bring everything back to the center. Rotate to the left side, then continue that movement through the neck as your head looks over the shoulder. And then bring it back. One more each side, rotate, and then turn the head. And then bring everything back to the center. Last time you're going to rotate, and then turning the head. And then bring it back. Well done. Stretch the arms, lower down. We're going back down on the floor. Last position with the ball behind the top part of the back. So let's get the ball at the upper back. And again, we're making sure that our feet are shoulder distance, the legs are bent. We're interlinking the fingers together. We're not going to pull on the head. In fact, just let your head hang into the arms. Check you can see the elbows out the corner of your eyes. Is the right side of the bottom pushed down as equally as the left? Now we're just going to slowly lower back. Now as you go back, make sure that you're not looking behind you. You're looking up to the ceiling or slightly forwards. And just stay there for a moment. Breathe into this. Letting the breath out. Take a breath. Now check, big toes, little toes pushed into the floor, and just slowly curl up. Retrace the lines with your eyes along the ceiling, down the wall, until you end up where you started, eye line above the knees. Pelvis stays still. And then again, slowly, think of this center line right down through the nose, the sternum, right down to the pubic bone. Stay there, breathe into this. And letting that breath out. And again, take a breath. And as you breathe out, just slowly curling back up, looking towards the tops of the knees. And again, we've got two more. As you lower down. And then stay there, breathing in. Just letting the breath out. And again, curling up, looking forwards, getting more movement in our thoracic, the top part of our back that gets really, really tight. And when that upper back gets tight, it means the lower back's got to do even more work. So really important in releasing everything. Stay back, take a breath. Letting that breath out. And then you're going to curl up, look forwards. Once you're looking forwards, leave go, hands on the floor, ball to one side. We're right back to where we started lying down. We're going to get more movement in the spine and more strength work in the core muscles now. So as you lie down, notice how you feel compared to the beginning of the session. Chin is nodding to the chest, feet shoulder distance. We're in this neutral pelvis to begin with. Now, like we did earlier, you're going to bring your legs together. You're going to turn the palms to the ceiling. So we start neutral. We want the knees level. Start small again. We're going to the right. As we go to the right, checking the left knee hasn't started to slide back. So left knee, right knee level. Shoulders are down on the floor. Then you're going to bring it back. As you come through center, the foot to the hips are level. And then you're going over to the left side, that right knee, left knee level. And then bring it back. Now you gradually increase it, but only as far as you can keep the legs together, and you can keep the knees together, and you can keep the shoulders on the floor. And again, breathing in as you go over to the side. As you breathe out, we're going to bring it back. And again, we're just going to do one more like this, over to the right side, then back to the center. Last time, as you go over to the left side, And then you're going to bring it back. As you come back, bring the feet back to shoulder distance, slide the arms in, press your arms down, palms are down to the floor. Take a breath. Ready for your shoulder bridge. Remember, first thing, tighten the belt. Second thing, imprint the lower back. Then squeeze the bottom muscles. Remember, we want to curl the pelvis as you peel up. But we're going to stay here. We're squeezing the bottom muscles to stay in this position. Lift the arms, turn the palms, stretch them out towards the corners. And as you stretch them out, can you curl the pelvis even more as you lower down? Feel the back of the rib cage lower. The lower back, curl the pelvis to the last second and you release it. From here, your arms are up to the ceiling. Your arms stay here. Legs stay apart as you roll to the right. Check those shoulders, stay on the floor. Bring it back. The legs stay apart as you go to the left side. Bring it back. One more each side. Over to the right. Back to the center. Over towards the left side. And you're going to bring it back. As you come to the center, palms forwards. As you press them down, start to switch on the core again. Then imprint the lower back. Curl your pelvis. Peel up. Now once you're up, use the bottom muscles to keep the pelvis still as your arms reach up and over. Now once the arms are over, reach them even further as you curl the pelvis. You let your spine lower down. Once the bottom's on the floor, arms up to the ceiling and your feet stay apart as you roll to the right and center and you roll to the left. Bring it back. We got one more each side and center and then over to the left. Bring it back to the center. Now from here, place one hand over your belly button. See if you've got a bit of a gap between the lower back. Just slide the hand under, but don't adjust your back to slide it under. Now we're going to switch on the core. So take a breath. As you breathe out, I want to pull your belly button away from the hand that's on the belly button. I want to see if you can press the lower back into the hand that's under your lower back. And keep that pressure on the hand on the floor. Keep the pressure away from the hand on the belly button as your right leg comes up. So pressing into the hand on the floor, pulling your belly button away from the other hand. Can you keep that as your other leg lifts? Keep pushing down into the hand on the floor. Keep pulling away from the hand on the belly button. Lower your right leg and then lower the left leg. Let's go again. So we're checking that core stays switched on in this position. Lift up. Push down into your hand on the floor. Pull your belly button away from your hand that's on your belly button. Stay there. So it's a lot more challenging than when we had the ball under. Slowly lower down. Keep pulling the belly button away from the hand. And then down. And again. One more. Leg up. Now push down into your hand on the floor. Pull your belly button away from the other hand. Lift up. Stay there. Keep pulling in. Let one leg lower. Well done. Let the other leg lower. Now you can unslot and place your arms on the floor. And try that one more time. Right leg lifts, but you haven't got that feedback. You're pushing into the floor. Belly button in. Left leg lifts. Good. Keep tightening the belt. Lower the right foot. Cross your left leg over the right leg. Have a check. Are these hips still level? If one hip had to hitch up a bit, then adjust the position of your right foot. Your arms are reaching out to the side, palms to the floor. We're going to roll the legs over towards the right side and we're going to turn the head to the left side and stay there for a moment. We're lengthening the arms. The shoulders are down on the floor. Then we're going to bring the legs as well as the head back through the center. And then we're going the other way. The legs are going to the left and your head goes to the right. Hold it there for a moment. Take a breath. Good. Bring it back. Now we're stretching our piriformis muscle, that muscle under the glute. We've got one more each side. Legs to the right. Head goes to the left. And just pause there for a moment. Take that breath in. And then bring it back through the center. And now the legs are going to the left and the head is going over towards the right side. And hold it. And then bring it back to the center. Now, without the pelvis moving, let's just swap the legs over. So if you need to, Place your hands on it, get that feedback, arms out to the side. We're going to the left side first with the legs. And the head goes to the right. You're reaching the arms out. Hold it there for a moment. And then bring it back through the center. Now the legs are going over to the right. Head goes to the left. And again, just hold it for a moment. Take a breath. As you breathe out, you're going to bring it back to the center. And again, your legs are going to the left. And your head goes to the right. Holding it there. And then you're going to bring it back to the center. And now your legs are going to the right. And your head goes to the left. And you're going to hold it there. And then from here, you're going to bring it back to the center. Going to unhook the right foot so your feet and legs are together. And once more, just the legs were rolling side to side. And then bring it back. Remember, we're keeping the legs together, keeping the knees level over towards the left side. We're going to bring it back. And let's do one more each side. And then back to the center. And then over towards the left side. And then you're going to bring it back. You're going to roll onto any side. And you're going to roll onto your hands and knees again. And then you're coming up to that high kneeling again, like you did before. You're making sure the knees are level and our pelvis is in neutral. Chin pressed back. Palms facing the outsides of the legs. Let's go back to stretching those muscles down the side of the spine. Bring it back. Feel that subtle lift in the chest. Good. So it's not about how low you get. It's about keeping that alignment, keeping the pelvis level, lengthen up. And again, over. Good. Bring it back. And again, over to the side. Bring it back. And then left side. Bring it back. Now I want you to open your right arm out. Place your right hand behind your head. Push your head into the hand. Now go to the left side. Feel your right elbow lengthening. But push the right knee down into the floor. Breathe in to this right side of the ribcage. Head pressing into the hand. And then bring it back. One more, that same direction. Over to the side. Push the head into the hand. The elbow lifts. The knee presses down. And then bring it back. We're swapping over. And now over to the other side. So that subtle lift in the chest. Knee down. Elbow up. Breathing into the side. And then bring it back. Let's do one more. Elbow lengthening. Knee pressing down. Bring it back. We're going to release. In a minute, we're going to come to standing. If you can, one foot in front to stand up. However, I want you to do the leg that you wouldn't normally do. So if you would have the right leg forwards, let's try and do the other leg. Hands on your thigh if you need to, or if not, come up, whatever way is good for you. But we want to really strengthen all these muscles. And then once up, the feet are parallel. Make sure you're not bending to see me just after you've done all that lovely work on the spine. Feel the length through the crown of the head. Let your shoulders relax. Let's do that lateral movement again as we stretch once again. Move through the side of the spine. And again, over to the side and bring it back. And then over to the side, we're going to bring it back. Reach the arms, turn the palms, lift your arms up. Again, feel that subtle lift in the chest and lengthen your right arm a little more. And then lengthen your left arm. And again, one more right arm, one more left arm. Bring it back, opening out. We've stretched, we've strengthened. Got strong Pilates bodies. Hope you feel good after that. Well done.